Hello and welcome back to the third event of the 2018 Formula 4 Southeast Asia Championship, fueled by Petron. My name is Aaron Thompson and we're about to get to all of the action in race 3, but before then let's have a quick walk down the pit lane.
Yeah, it depends because the weather is quite changing, so yeah, it could be a tough race. So yeah, we'll see.
Thank you very much, and now let's head up to race control to watch the race. So let's run through the starting grid. We've got Rio Kamakado in the pink number 46 at the front, followed by Alistair Young. Luke Thompson in car number 42 on the second row, and Muizz alongside him. Kane Shepherd in car number 3, just ahead of Alessandro Giretti. They're the third row of the grid, and Aidan Wright and Anton Botti bring up the rear. Unfortunately, as we saw, Anton had some problems with his start, and it looks like he's going to have to start from the pit exit. The lights are gone on and they're off now, and we're underway. Great start again from Alistair, much better start from Rio this time. Luke Thompson trying to do what he did last time and get up the inside, but Muizz has gone through past Luke, and Alessandro's past Luke, and Kane's going to try and get past Luke as well the same way, and Aidan Wright, that makes 3, poor Luke. That puts Luke back at the back of the field. Aidan Wright, Kane Shepherd and Alessandro Giretti all got through past him, and Muizz as well. That's that's Alistair Young now, followed by Muizz on your screens, and you can see Aidan Wright and Alessandro Giretti, Aidan Wright and Kane Shepherd all tossing for positions, trying to get past Rio Kamakado. That's Aidan there, a little bit wide in the car number 7, the purple car. Coming down into turn 4, what's going to happen here?
Well, Alessandro has a look at Rio. All looks like he's gone wide in turn 5, so Alessandro will take that place going into turn 6.
So Luke's taking a place back from Aidan right now. He was pushed to the back of the grid, but he's back up to 6th. Kane Shepherd jumping through past Rio there, coming another side by side through turn 7.
Looks like Luke is going to have a look into turn 8 as well.
Back at the front of the grid, we can see Muizz is all up behind Alistair Young, trying to find a way past before Alessandro Giretti and Kane Shepherd catch up to him. So what he's trying to do there is put a car between him and walk away with the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. There's good driving from Muizz so far. Let's see if he can get past Alistair.
So we can see the 2 yellow cars at the front are actually Malaysians. It's Team Malaysia at the front, and Thailand and France are just behind him. So is there any chance the 2 drivers would team up and try and outsmart the rest of the grid?
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
So coming back down the back straight there, that's Alistair Young in number 22, but he goes very wide. Muizz is going to come alongside him. Oh, Alistair lost a lot of momentum, and Alessandro Giretti and Muizz are now up into 1st and 2nd, side by side through turn 1, and Alessandro's going to, he manages to hold it, but Kane has gone past as well, so that pushes, and someone's gone very wide down into turn 1.
Rio's off.
Rio's off at turn 1. We can't see what's happening with the marshal post, but I presume that he's gone straight off, which would mean he's not in a particularly dangerous situation, so it's probably just a yellow flag. Maybe no need for the safety car, but we'll find out in a few minutes. We can see there, that's what happened. Alessandro went wide, and then Rio just, I don't know, did he lose grip there?
Looks like he just got something like a tank slapper there, overcorrected the rear and just sent him out. Now we've got the safety car.
So now this is coming through turn 7, the big sweeping U-turn where we've seen 2 side-by-side overtakes. And now down, coming down into turn 8, we can see Muizz at the front. He's got a big, nice lead over Kane Shepherd, but Kane's not going to be happy with that. He's going to start charging down. Alessandro Giretti is separated from the front 2 drivers by Alistair Young, and this is, of course, going to work into Kane Shepherd's favor.
Now safety car.
Aidan Wright making a move.
Aidan.
There might be some damage then to Alessandro's car. He is dropping back a little bit after that excursion. I do see some damage maybe on his front left wing. Alessandro with his hands in the air there. Perhaps there was a yellow flag?
Yeah, it looks like he overtook on the safety car, but that will be up to the stewards to decide.
That will be up to the stewards to decide, but of course Aidan is an experienced driver, so he might just give the position back now so that there's no problems. So just to confirm, we do have the safety car coming out. I can see the yellow flag in the safety car board. Alessandro, this is a replay now, sorry of what happened at turn 1 a few laps ago. Ricardo off deep into the turn 1, and he came back on himself, so he would have been in the way of anyone going off there. So there we go. We can see the cars all filing in behind the safety car. You can see that's Muizz from Malaysia in front, followed by Kane Shepherd and another Malaysian, Alistair Young, before we have the Frenchman, the Australian, Aiden Wright, and Duretti just behind. So of course this means that Alessandro's, well, it means two things. First of all, Alessandro's closer to Kane, but now he's one car further back.
Yep. Also, hopefully this will give Antoine Potty a chance to rejoin behind the field after his start from pit lane.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that the cars are allowed to catch up. The cars that have been lapped are allowed to catch back up, right? So of course we can see the cars now coming through the big sweeping turn 7. And the problem for Muizz now is that Kane Shepherd's going to be right up behind him at the start. Yeah. And Kane, of course, he's the rookie champion from last year, driving alongside drivers like Daniel Cow, who's gone on to F3 now. So he's got a bit more experience in these cars than Muizz.
Yeah, so he'll definitely be looking to make a move after the safety car has gone back into the pits. Looks like the safety car will stay out for another lap as the lights are still on as they enter turn 8.
Coming around now, as Sandy said, turn 8. So if the safety car was coming in, its lights will turn off at turn 7, I believe. So obviously there's going to be another lap on the safety car. So these laps do count towards the total score. So as the drivers go past, the total number of laps go down, and there is 12 remaining at the end of this lap, I believe. There, Luke Thompson, just behind Alessandro Duretti. Back over the bridge one more time. The lights are still on.
Yep, safety car is still out.
So we saw Rio a moment ago walking away from his car, so he seems to be perfectly fine. They just need to recover the car now, so it's in a safe position. So if anybody else crashes off in the same place, nobody gets hurt. But it did seem to be stuck in the gravel quite deep there, Sandy, so it might take 2 or 3 laps for them to recover it. What does that mean for the drivers? What do they have to do to keep their car up to spec and ready to go? Well,
now they'll be wanting to keep their tires warm, doing some weaving, as we can see some drivers are doing. Just trying to keep their composure, collect all their thoughts, and prepare for the restart.
So we just saw Anton Potty come past the start-finish straight, and we can see the rest of the cars are up at the kink, so he's going to catch them back up any moment. So the young Belgian will have a chance to jump up past Luke and hopefully get onto the podium again.
Yep, this should be shaping up to be a very exciting race.
So we know that Alessandro is an ace at this track already, even though he's only got two races under his belt. We've seen him carve up the field before with Kane Shepherd just behind him, so perhaps Anton can jump over Luke and follow his comrade Alessandro right up to the front of the grid. Yeah, definitely. I think he'll be planning to do that, trying to stick on to Alessandro Guerretti. So on the left of your screens now, you can see Anton is just about to rejoin just behind Luke. And the safety car is coming at the end of turn 7 now, and the lights are still on. So that would indicate that there is going to be another lap on the safety car. Of course, these laps on the safety car are significantly slower. Oh, the lights have just gone out, so that means the safety car is coming in this lap.
Yep, so we will be racing again when they pass the start-finish line.
So Muizz now, I'm not sure if he's ever restarted a race on the safety car. What does he have to do to get off the line as quick as possible?
Well, he'll want to bunch up the field as much as possible, and then on the most unexpected moment try to get a jump on everybody and start the race after the safety car has entered the pit lane.
So the man at the front, he's the one who decides when you put your throttle down, and there's no overtaking allowed until you pass the start-finish straight.
Yep, that's correct.
So we can see now the cars are coming past over the bridge, and safety cars coming to pit lane, and it looks like Muizz is already on the gas. He's coming down through turn 12. He's going to lead us past the start-finish straight with Kane Shepherd just behind him. Cars all running quite a bit wide there at turn 12. And Kane is right up behind Muizz, and Alessandro trying to make a move around the outside of Aiden Wright. Not quite. He carries a lot more speed. Wow, that was so much more speed through that corner. He's got to go around the outside now, but now he's got the inside coming into turn 3, so can he stick it? Muizz there turning through turn 3. So on the right of your screens, you're going to see Kane Shepherd. And
Looks like
28.
he's
He
just
goes
made it.
very wide though.
Very wide, but he's made it.
And that is number 22 behind as well.
So
in front of
Aiden
Luke
makes
Thompson.
a move here.
And Anton Potty, as we said, is trying to make a move now on Luke Thompson. He's going to look down the inside here. Luke got the outside line, which sets him up to be on the inside at turn. Is that turn 5? Yes. So coming through now, we've seen some overtakes here at turn 7. But not quite, nobody close enough. Alessandro really carried so much speed through turn 1 there. What did he do differently?
Yeah, very committed through the first corner, so that was a brilliant overtake from the young Frenchman.
So Alistair Young, Luke Thompson, Anton Potty all battling it out there for 6th position.
Kane and Muizz in the lead. Looks like Kane is trying to close the gap to Muizz, and Muizz is doing his best to extend his lead here.
We can see there is a bit of a gap between Alessandro and Kane, although there is 10 laps left to go at the end of this. So the young Frenchman has still got the opportunity to catch up to Thailand and Malaysia.
Yeah, as we've seen, Alessandro Duretti has been definitely setting the pace, so we'll be seeing him fight for the winning spot for sure.
Coming down through turn 1 now, no one quite close enough to try anything. Alistair Young there in the yellow car, number 22, going into turn 2 there, and now we have Muizz Mushaffer and Kane Shepherd coming through turn 3. Kane not really close enough to try anything. Muizz managing to maintain his lead, at least for the moment, and we saw in the last event as well, come to the end of the weekend, Muizz was on his game and he won the race.
Yeah, looks like he'll be trying to do the same thing in the final race here today.
But we can see these 3 cars, orange, pink, and yellow on your screen right now, are still tussling for position. Maybe somebody will make a move through turn 4. Looked like side by side there between the orange and pink just briefly. But Alessandro Duretti now, what's his goal? He's got to go and catch down Kane Shepherd. Because well, how does this work out? So Kane has 18 points in race 1 and 18 points in race 2, so that's 36. And Alessandro's on 50 because he got 25 twice.
Yeah.
So what happens if Alessandro finishes 3rd and Kane finishes 1st? Is it enough? I can't do the math in my head right now.
Calculator for that one.
Oh, but we can see Kane has caught
Kane
right up
is
to Muizz. That
having a
looks
look
like
here.
coming out of turn 8, right? Going down into turn 9, or is that
I believe
sweeping?
this is 10 into 11.
That's 10,
over
11,
the
12.
bridge.
You're right, Sandy. Over the bridge. Turn 12. Muizz has still got the lead, and he's going to, of course, lead down the back straight now. So with 10 laps left to go, or is it 9? It's 9 laps left to go. Malaysia leads, Thailand leads France. But Kane Shepherd's not going to give up easily. He wants this win. I'm sorry, that's 8 laps left to go at this point. You can see the cars now. Muizz leading us through turn 3, up through the kink. Kane Shepherd, as you said, has a lot of exit speed out of some of these corners. It looks like he just close his gap, but then in some places Muizz seems to be strengthening himself as well. So on the last lap, Kane Shepherd was 4/10 behind the Malaysian in front of him, and they're both doing 138s. Kane is actually doing a 138.7, so he is closing, and Muizz is doing a 138.9. But interestingly, Alessandro Duretti, fastest man on track, doing a 138.6. That's about a tenth. It's about 1.6 tenths faster than anyone else.
He's definitely catching the leading duo now. So this could be an exciting 3-way battle for the lead.
But he is more than 2.5 seconds behind. So with 8 laps left to go, he needs to close almost 2/10 a lap.
Well, if Kane gets close enough to challenge Muizz for the lead, Alessandro will definitely close in.
Yeah, that battle's going to slow them down.
Yeah.
So we can see Aiden Wright from Australia here leading us over the bridge. Coming down into turn 12. Muizz and Kane there crossing the start-finish line with 8 laps left to go. Alessandro Duretti in 3rd place. Aiden Wright, the purple car, in number 7, just on the screens. That's 4th position. 5th position, we've got Alistair Young, then Luke Thompson and Anton Potty. Coming down now through turn 3. We have Muizz leading us. Muizz still holding on. Hopefully he can hold on to the end of the race. The young Malaysian deserves a win. He's been fighting hard all weekend, had a few little bits of bad luck where he spin off. But the amazing thing about Muizz is he spins off and then somehow he's still on the podium at the end of the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. I was just saying to him before the race that if he doesn't run into any trouble, he could win this race because he's been on the pace. He's been there, he's just been unlucky with some contact in the starts and a few spins. So let's see him try to convert this into a victory.
Coming out of turn 7 there, you can see yellow, blue, blue. That is Malaysia, Thailand and France, and Australia just behind them. Of course, Sandy, you're a Thai as well, so who are you rooting for, Thailand or Malaysia?
Well, it would be unpatriotic of me not to root for my home country, right?
Surely you have to be on bias. You're a driver coach.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the data doesn't lie. It's not, the data has no feelings, so that's all I'm looking at and trying to get every one of these drivers to improve to their maximum potential.
So we had a good look at Alessandro Giretti's left front end plate there, and it does seem like it's been scratched up, but it doesn't seem to be any parts missing of it. It's just been, so he's all okay, he's good to go. Now he's got to close down the gap to Kane Shepherd, and then he's got to look at Muizz.
Yeah, definitely.
7 laps to go, and Alistair Young, Anton Patti and Luke Thompson are all tossing it out for 6th position. Still neck and neck between the 3 drivers. Luke, the most experienced of the 3 with a whole championship underneath him, while the 2 others, Antoine and Alistair, are both still rookies. That lap saw, oh wow, Kane is now 5/10 behind Muizz, and Alessandro is now 1.8 seconds behind, so he's closed the gap by about 7/10.
Yeah, looks like he will definitely be challenging those 2 for the victory.
But we can see now Anton, the orange car, right up behind Luke. He's been right up behind Luke for the last few laps, and he just can't find a way past.
Not yet, but maybe we'll see a move.
Hopefully. Hopefully. The Belgian driver, I think he was on the podium in the first race, but he's had a bit of bad luck in the second race where he had problems with his start, and the same thing happened again in this race. So hopefully he'll manage to find his way back up the front of the podium, but Luke's not going to make it easy for him.
No, definitely not. All of these drivers want to win. All of these drivers want to be in the best position possible, and it looks like these 3 would definitely be tussling for the victory.
You're right, Sandy. Just looking at them on screen, you can see the gap's definitely shortened to less than 1.8 seconds already. So something very interesting is going to happen in the next few laps. We've seen side by side through turn 1, through turn 3, through turn 7, where I think we thought was impossible at the beginning of the weekend,
Yeah.
but these drivers are doing it. 6 laps left to go, and it's still Muizz Mashafra in the lead. Kane Shepherd just behind him, and of course Alessandro Giretti, ever present. Coming through turn 3, no one's quite close enough to do anything yet. Muizz, of course, now bringing us out of turn 2 down into turn 3. With Kane just behind him. There's not really any chance to overtake now until you get up to turn 4, but nobody's really close enough. So the thing to remember here, though, is all of these drivers, of course, they're on the same they have one set of tires for qualifying race 1, 2, and 3. The only difference being that Alessandro Giretti did 3 laps of qualifying, Kane Shepherd did 10 or 15.
Yeah.
So he's got much fresher tires. So come the end of the race, Alessandro's, it's flip-flopped actually from the last weekend where Kane had the advantage, having spent less time out on track in qualifying, and now Alessandro has the advantage at the end of this race.
Yeah. So those few kilometers will definitely make a difference now. And looks like they are, as Alessandro is still continuing to close the gap to the top 2.
You're right, Sandy. He's down under 1.5 seconds now. He's about 1.468, and he's still setting 138s, whereas Muizz and Kane are doing the 139s now. The last lap, I should say. So here we go. Kane Shepherd's on your screens. Looks like he's coming around turn 12, down the main straight, right behind Muizz. Muizz just seems to be pulling away a little bit.
Yeah, he's driving very, very well here.
With 5 laps left to go, Muizz, he's just got to be calm, keep going, don't worry about Kane behind him. Oh, and Anton Patti has somehow managed to get in front of Luke Thompson. I just saw him go past the start-finish straight. it was orange and pink rather than pink and orange this time around. So Muizz there, bringing us up through the kink, and in car number 3, Kane Shepherd, he does seem to be a lot closer to car number 28. Perhaps Kane made a little mistake somewhere. He does seem to have fallen back from Muizz, and it looks like there's only a second gap or less than that between Thailand and France at the moment. So of course this is going to work in Muizz's favor. So a moment ago we were saying that the battle between Muizz and Kane is going to allow Alessandro to catch up and perhaps take the lead, but now maybe the battle between Kane and Alessandro is going to prevent that.
Yeah, absolutely. This might be Muizz's golden ticket to the victory.
Coming down now through turn 8, before he switches back up into turn 9, and then there's a long straight where you get up to 5th gear, about 160 you were saying, Sandy?
Yeah.
So you have to brake for turn 10. Do you brake for turn 10 at the kink just before it, or?
No, this kink that we see Alessandro coming through now is flat out, and then they're just braking for that hairpin.
So there's maybe no chance for them to overtake there. The braking is a bit too late. You've got to go through the kink first. So the next opportunity then is turn 2.
Yes.
Or turn 1 with our drivers. You never know.
Yeah. We've actually seen a lot more overtaking than I thought would be possible on this circuit, seeing as it's quite high speed and quite technical at the same time.
So looking at our screens now, Kane Shepherd has fallen back. In fact, he's 7/10 off of Muizz now. His last lap was a 1:39.2, and Muizz did a 1:39 dead. And of course, Alessandro as well. His last lap was the same, I should say, as Muizz. So that means Alessandro's closing in on Kane.
Yep.
So we can see Aiden right there coming out of the kink, and of course there you can see triumphantly Anton Potty's managed to get past Luke Thompson. He's hunting Alistair Young now. Maybe he can do the same thing, get himself up into, is it 4th position he would be in?
5th, I believe.
Yes, you're right, that would be 5th, but it would put him, yes, that would put him on the podium. He'd be on the rookie podium. He'd be 3rd place rookie if he manages to take this guy. We can see now Muizz again through turn 8. This track is a little bit shorter than Sepang that we were at a few weeks ago. So it's got Sepang has 15 corners and it's 5.543 kilometers long, and Madras has 12 corners and it's 3.7 kilometers long. So they're lapping about 30 seconds faster here than they would in Sepang. So does that have any effect on the weekend or your strategy or your thinking or tire management or anything like that?
Well, not really. The cars should cover roughly the same distances, but the characteristic of the circuit will definitely change. Seeing as this is quite a bumpy, abrasive circuit, we can expect more tire degradation. And seeing as most of the corners are 3rd gear or above, there's a lot of lateral load on the tires, which will make them wear faster.
So of course Alessandro there just behind the top 3 drivers, just finishing up the top 3 drivers, and we can see, oh, something's happening here. Anton Potty about to make a move on Alistair Young. He's right up beside him. Before we find out what happened there, let's see the front of the grid where Muizz Mashafra is still leading from Kane Shepherd and number 28, that is Alessandro Giretti. Coming into turn 4, no one's close enough to make a move. They're all staying about the same position. We've got 2 laps to go at the end of this lap. There could be something happening between Kane and Alessandro.
Yep, maybe on the next lap or the last lap. This will definitely be a photo finish.
Coming down now, out of turn 7, going up into turn 8. Alessandro, I wonder what's going through his mind. At this point, does he think, well, I've got 2 wins, the 3rd position is enough, let's not risk. Because I think the only way he could not be the event champion is if he doesn't finish, because the same thing happened to him in event 2. So maybe his strategy now is going to be, look, all I have to do is take this 3rd place and I'll be event champion.
Well, knowing Alessandro, I doubt that's what he's thinking. He's probably only thinking about the win, and we can see that determination coming through as he's still trying to close the gap to Kane.
So let's see now, as they cross the start-finish line, what's going to happen? What's going to be the gap between the top 3 drivers? 2 laps to go, and Malaysia's Muizz Mashafra in the yellow car, number 23, takes us through turn 1, just ahead of Kane Shepherd in the blue number 3 car, and Alessandro Giretti from France, the number 28 blue car, just behind those 2. Having a look at our timing screens now, has everything been refreshed? Not quite yet. Let's get back to that in a moment. So we'll keep looking at the drivers. We've got number 23 now again, Muizz, bringing us up to the kink. I really want to see something happen here. I can imagine somebody going side by side through. Somehow. I don't know how.
Well, we'll have to wait and see if somebody gets close enough to make a move. Right now, it looks like they're all kind of limited by aero wash and tire degradation. So the closer they get, the more understeer they get, and then they lose track. So it's a very difficult position to be in as a driver, especially for Kane, trying to hunt someone down and also have someone hunting you down at the same time. So this will require a lot of mental strength from all three of these drivers.
So looking at the lap timings now, we have 1:39.266. That's Muizz's time in the last lap. 1:39.253. That's Kane's time in the last lap. And 1:39.421. That's Alessandro's lap. So a little bit slower this time around by Alessandro. Kane knocked a 10th off. He's still 6/10 out. How close does he have to get to Muizz before he can make a move?
Ideally, when you're close enough, you should be around 3 or 4 tenths away from the car in front, and looks like Kane is just a few tenths shy of that.
Last lap now, and of course Muizz, yellow car at the front of your screen. He's got to be very happy leading the pack around, but he's still under a lot of pressure. He's got Kane Shepherd just behind him. As Sandy said, Kane's probably got to be 2 or 3 tenths closer, but we have seen the young Thai driver do that in a lap, make a few tenths up, even on the driver behind him, Alessandro Giretti, who's been one of the fastest drivers this weekend. One of only 2 people, I believe, who've broken into the 137s. Yeah. Although, of course, now the track's a little bit cooler and the tires are a lot older, so it's not really possible. They're lapping 139s at the moment, so that really tells you how much of a difference these tires can make.
Yeah, definitely. Now just looking at Muizz through turn 6, going into 7 soon. This will be the most nerve-wracking lap for him, seeing as Kane looks like he's closed up a little bit. Final lap of the race, he's trying to do everything perfectly so that Kane can't get past, and looks like he's done enough to avoid an overtake into turn 8.
So we saw Alessandro went a lot wider than the other 2 drivers coming out of turn 7. Why would he do that?
Well, it looks like he's just using a bit more track than they are, trying to catch up to them, trying to carry more speed through 7, which will make his trajectory longer.
So we can see the drivers now coming down through the last few corners. Muizz Mashaffer, the yellow car at the front. Kane Shepherd, the blue car, number 3. And Alessandro Giretti on your screens there. It's number 28 in the blue. I don't want to say it, so don't say it yet, because we won't give him the commentator's curse. Yeah. But as he crosses the start-finish line, it is Muizz Mashaffer. Finally, the Malaysian manages to find his win, just like he did last weekend in the final race. Brilliant driving all around. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of the race, and that means the first weekend in India at the Madras Motor Race Track has come to a close. We'll be back next week with more action, but first let's take a quick look back at Event 3. Race 1 kick-started the weekend with Giretti on pole, followed by Shepherd and Muizz. Giretti took us down the main straight, blocking Shepherd while Thompson got past Muizz, putting France, Thailand, Ireland and Malaysia in 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th positions for a short time. But Thompson had a terrible turn of events a few laps later when Aussie Aidan Wright found a way past him on the first turn, and Anton Putty then piled past on his way up into turn 2, and his day wasn't over yet as Muizz continued to chip away at his heels and eventually found a way past. As the checkered flag waved an end to the first F4 race on Indian soil, Alessandro Giretti, having led from lap 1, stood at the top of the podium, with Kane Shepherd in 2nd and Anton Putty, who had found his pace during the race, finished a well-deserved 3rd. Race 2 saw Alistair Young in P2 of the reverse grid, just behind Japan's Ryoko Mikado. But Malaysia made a good start, jumping up to 1st with Luke on his heels, while Aidan Wright made a move around the outside. And Muizz ended up going through the grass as Alessandro Giretti took Shepherd. Thompson challenged Young for the lead as the race 1 winners carved their way through the pack. Luke tried several moves but couldn't make anything stick, and the battle allowed the blue cars behind him to catch up. Giretti made a spectacular move up the inside of turn 7. Giretti set his sights on Alistair Young. Alistair had a stellar drive, defending from more experienced drivers, but the Malaysian ultimately had to settle for P5 as the checker flag waved Giretti the race winner, once again ahead of Shepherd and Muizz. Muizz had a fantastical start at the beginning of race 3, somehow jumping from 4th to 2nd, while Giretti and Shepherd sliced past Rio up the inside through turn 5 and again side by side for the second time through turn 7. At the head of the pack, Alistair was doing well, not giving Muizz an inch, but at the end of the lap he ran a little wide coming out of turn 12 and that was all Muizz needed. Carrying more speed down the main straight, he blitzed past his Malaysian compatriot with Giretti in tow. The French driver tried to make it 3 for 3 up the inside of turn 1, but didn't have the space and was forced onto the grass, letting Alistair scoop back up second place. Alessandro managed to recover his car without any fuss, and as the checker flag waved, it was Malaysia, Thailand, France. The question now is what that means for the event championship. Well, Alessandro Giretti walked away with Event 3's champion trophy, just behind the Frenchman. Thailand Shepherd managed to secure 54 points. Malaysia's Muizz Mushaffer did 50 points and third overall, alongside Irishman Luke Thompson. Alistair did well enough to earn 28 points and an overall PU5, just ahead of Belgium's Anton Potty, who ended his weekend in 6th place with 23 points. Japan's Ryo Kamikado contested Event 3 with several personal bests, ending his weekend in P7 with 22 points, ahead of Australia's Aidan Wright, who rounded up the pack. The F4 team had a fantastic weekend at Madras and saw some great racing, but the action's not over yet, and the show will go on next week, back at the Madras Motor Racetrack for one more event before the contingent ships out to Thailand. So for me, Aaron Thompson, thank you very much for watching and I hope to see you again soon.